Hi, I'm Barry John, and welcome back to Let's Play Overload. I have two co-pilots, and I'll let them introduce themselves.
Hello, I'm Crazy Ahmed.
And I'm Laylite.
And I like the fact that they actually took the time to show Tethys' white spot.
We have arrived at the Advanced Research Laboratory on Tethys. Flight control records at Titan Harbor log the departure of the MP.
But now that we're in the last act, the plot twists are going to be coming pretty hard and heavy. So let's get ready for the first couple of them right off the bat.
50 million kilometers from Titan.
Here we go. Yeah, this is very suspicious.
Anomalies in Iberia's memory. I must run low-level diagnostics.
Someone's been messing with our ride.
Also scanned the ship for any objects that may be interfering with the Iberia's operation. All cargo is accounted for on the manifest and originates from Juno Offworld. There is something else I must bring to your attention. I have completed a preliminary scan of the facility and found a message intended for transmission. It was never sent.
This is Dev Saldana, Chief Scientist, Tethys Advanced Research Lab. About 18 months ago, a construction crew was excavating the foundations for a future gas mining facility on the moon of Enceladus. They discovered the wreckage of what we now know is an alien craft. We believe...
And there's the second plot twist in about as many minutes.
Over 1,200 light years away, the people who made this discovery are now dead. The shuttle exploded en route to Titan, and all on board were killed. I have reason to believe that Gabriel Canto... Damn it.
Dr. Saldana ends the recording here. After we complete our mission.
Now, here's the thing, though. We've been told about this shuttle explosion previously, how some of the people were mourning the people who died on that.
To mitigate the effects.
But if you remember the logs from Titan Observatory, you'll notice that they were told they were told to start examining stars in the Cygnus constellation. Also, this guy.
Internal explosives, you say?
Wait, so this is a combo driller and explodey fish?
Yes?
Sure, okay.
I mean, I guess that's a way of mitigating their weaknesses, because usually with those little tiny driller guys, you would want to get as close as possible so that you get your point-blank bonuses and you're less likely to miss with your shotgunning effects. And now they just explode if you're at point-blank. And I guess that probably hurts you then.
Although, to be fair, the way their AI works is that they will drill you at distance, then once you deal enough damage to them, they'll switch over to Seeky Explodey Fish mode.
Oh, good. So, well, yeah, I guess in most cases, if you're taking cover, they probably can't get to you before they explode, but that's still one more thing to keep track of in a game full of things to keep track of.
And here is the Thunderbolt. Sorry, the Fusion Beam. In all of its seeking, tracking, charging glory.
Oh,
so yeah,
yes.
The Thunderbolt would be great to solve this problem, wouldn't it? Because if you just one-shot them, then you skip their whole becoming a Seeker Bomb thing.
Yes, and you'll see me do that later on. But, so this particular video is... Wait, that's the exit.
Oh, convenient.
And that's the level 3 door. The reactor is behind that door. And the entrance is right here. It's going to be one of those days.
Well, at least they're not swarming you right at the entrance, but it definitely seems like the minute you go down one of these hallways, you're going to get yourself in trouble.
This alien ship crashed on Enceladus about 300,000 years ago, around the time when the first Homo sapiens were born somewhere in Africa. Origin is unknown. Our best guess is KIC 8462852 in the Cygnus constellation.
Yeah, I have to admit this whole alien crash landing thing is kind of throwing a wrench into the plot at this point, since we kind of thought that this whole Cantor, not conspiracy, but scheme, I guess would be the word, was going to be the whole central factor of this whole thing. But now this just raises further questions about where those exotic materials are coming from.
I want to point out that you mentioned in a previous video how you could use seeking weapons to fire them down hallways just to see if there was enemies by how they curved. And I was doing that a little bit there with the Thunderbolt.
Yeah, I mean, energy recharges, missiles don't, so might as well make use of it. Wow, I think you got... It says 2 ogres killed. I guess that's nice.
Yep.
And
You
the
made him
super
mad.
weapon.
But the one thing I don't like about the Thunderbolt is that it changes the pace of the game. Ow.
You mean like the charge shot in Mega Man, where you feel like obligated to lead in every battle with a charge shot.
Well, not just that, but it's a case like the fusion beam is not as fast-paced as combat tends to be in this game. So just using it here, I'm basically using it as a mid-range, long-range sniper, rather than charging in and brawling it out.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, most enemies don't have a good response to that kind of tactic. They're usually expected to have some kind of a terrain advantage to make it hard for you to get that kind of a shot on them.
Yeah, the devs are giving you a lot of very long hallways here where you can shoot 3-4 rooms in advance.
It's almost like they're setting up the situation so you can enjoy the fusion cannon for a little while, up until they decide to make it less effective.
Well, it's actually not that effective once you get into a brawl, like a short-range, dodgy fight.
Yeah.
Also, this music is really Descent 2 in its strings.
Yeah, it's got a bit of that General MIDI twang to it.
But yeah, you can see how trying to fusion
Yeah,
in this.
The maneuverable targets.
God damn it! Okay, abort, abort, abort. Try again.
Ooh, ouch.
Gotta know when to run. Well, I mean, yeah, if that was your only weapon, then you'd be in some serious trouble, but thankfully there's hotkeys and whatnot for changing your weapon.
Yeah, but I'm using the Thunderbolt as much as I can right off the bat because I might as well. But even I reach the point of, yeah, this is no longer viable.
I don't know, it seemed to take care of that Afterburner Buzzsaw enemy pretty well, since it didn't have anywhere to go in its initial hallway.
Yeah. But, I mean, you were saying?
Oh, yeah, sorry, it's still decent against those bulky slow guys, but once they mix in the fast ones, then, yeah, it's time to switch to the Crusher or the Devastator or something.
Or the Flak Cannon.
So the fusion beam here, some people were commenting in the thread about, how much energy it costs. Well, a full charge costs about 3 points of energy, but just tapping the fire button takes 2 points of energy. So honestly, it's charging your shots here is definitely more energy efficient in the long run.
I mean, especially if you compare that to something like the Plasma Cannon, or whatever they're calling it, the Reflex Cannon, that's right. You'd probably need more than 3 energies worth of shots just to take down a big enemy.
Harper aims his cathode with the excavation, and then transporting materials from the crash site back here for analysis. Every shipment is a new mystery to solve.
I like the fact that they're at least pretending to maintain some degree of isolation for the alien technology.
Yeah, that's the sort of thing you definitely need to take your time with and place in, containment.
Oof. And even then, I still miss with the fusion beam on occasion. It hurts.
Well, it's nice that it is relatively energy efficient. I mean, I was half expecting it to just chew your energy like no other and be more of sort of a BFG panic button.
Yeah, I guess the thing has enough weaknesses that ammo consumption was decided that, they should go a little bit easier on the player in that regard.
Yeah, it's less of a special, more of just another tool in your arsenal.
Yeah, it has a purpose to it, really.
Oh,
So,
back to the
does
start.
choosing the other upgrade path where you get a super big charge, does that affect these energy numbers?
No, it doesn't. Doesn't really affect the energy numbers. It just makes it a lot faster to charge, and a little bit of higher damage output to it. So it's
So
more
you're
of
same ammo usage, but more damage.
yeah. It's more a case of you pick that path if you're using it to hunt big boys or boss fights.
Well, I mean, this is probably something that changes per difficulty, but so far, you haven't been having that much problem with the big enemies. You've mostly been overwhelmed by the swarms of the smaller enemies hitting you from unexpected directions. I mean, maybe on Fiendish or Hotshot or Impossible or whatever they're calling these higher difficulties, maybe the missile hulks throw like 3 or 4 missiles at you in one volley, and then maybe that's a problem.
Well, I
But
don't
so
think
far, the large enemies just kind of seem to be sitting ducks that, as long as you keep moving, they don't really seem to hurt you that much.
And you were mentioning about enemies coming at me from unexpected angles. Come on.
These 50-50 mix-ups, they're harsh.
So this is a non-linear level, by the way, for people who are trying to pay attention at home. The idea is that I need to collect the 2 security keys before I can advance to the next section, but the 2 keys are independent of each other, so I don't really have to go one way or the other right off the bat.
So they're like diametrically opposed to each other in opposite wings.
Pretty much. Oh.
Yeah, the dynamic of the whole attrition damage is a little bit strange for me to get used to. I guess probably just because I'm the one sitting in the passenger seat here. It seems like you're definitely taking pretty heavy chip damage from enemies like those, but you also get healed a lot from shields. Again, probably due to the difficulty. So your shield definitely seems to spend a lot of time going way down and way up.
Yeah, that's certainly one way of dealing with it. But I mean, don't forget, at this point, I've also got the damage reduction on my shields as well, so...
Oh yeah, that'll definitely add up over the long run, especially in this kind of lots of damage, lots of healing situation, where if you just take, like, I don't know, 10, 20, 30 hits over the course of a level, all of those get damage reduced.
Vessel suffered extensive damage on impact.
3 AI sovereigns. That sounds like it's a fact that should be coming up sooner rather than later.
The sovereigns use slave bots to carry out physical interactions. Their materials are extraordinary. Lightweight, but with a resilience and strength that far exceeds our own.
And you mentioned
Sheesh.
about... Yeah, you mentioned earlier about, getting all of these fancy science toys ahead of time. It's like... Pretty much. That's exactly what happened.
Next, they're going to be saying that these things aren't made from elements in our periodic table.
Oh, they're not... No. This game isn't that bad. I do... Ooh! Ow. I do love how this game handles the
Ooh.
stun effects.
I'm surprised they actually let you out of the corner there. I thought those guys are just going to pin you in there and not let you out.
Well, the AI does bounce back a little bit.
Yeah, I guess
Whenever-
they kind of slid off you in a manner of speaking.
I'll have to come back there later. So, guess what these blue corridors are?
Well, this being basically a descent game, my first instinct is a place where you get horribly ambushed.
They're big. Yeah, they're definitely real long corridors. I'm getting Descent 3 Accelerator vibes from those.
Oh, yeah.
That's exactly what they are.
A cleverly disguised loading zone.
No, the game loads the entire level at the start. And this gun continues to be awesome.
Yeah, I feel like that's true for most games where they give you an auto shotgun.
Alright, there's an enemy way down there that we want dead. Yes, excellent.
And yeah. And this is just me just looking down there going, is there somebody else? No? Yes? No? Never mind,
Oh,
there's
there they
other
are.
people.
They knew.
And the game even provided me with 2 shield pickups right before I would have encountered them.
Yeah, those enemies were definitely outside of homing range there.
Oh, wrong way, wrong way.
It's okay, those signs say, RegNad, so you're fine.
Messages from Cantor to Dev Saldana. I will play them back for you in chronological order.
Well, here we go.
The first was sent over 18 months ago on 21/17/02/03.
The Enceladus crew is dead. What happened to them is tragic. But let's stay focused. I need Harper out here to help with the excavation. Dev, you and your team will stay on Tethys. Your job is to analyze whatever I send back with Harper. No one else can know about the crash site. If word gets back to Juno, we'll be overrun by every rock cruncher in the belt.
The second message was sent nearly 6 months later on 21/17/07/22.
I'm just waiting for the messages to end before I advance to the next little fight.
He's on Titan to rebuild this alien tech. We'll break it down into discrete projects, each assigned to a different team. I'm sending Harper over with materials for you to analyze. We need the specifications to get everyone up and running. Dev, it's imperative that people on Titan and the Outer Moons don't know about the alien ship. Let's make them think this new technology is something I made up.
Yeah, that checks out.
Shuttle to fly between Titan and Tethys. Have them send Warden, but say nothing about the crash site.
It's an interesting way he's trying to minimize information contamination with regards to, oh yeah, there's an alien ship out here and we don't want everybody and their dog to show up.
Yeah, that's understandable. I mean, that's exactly why trade secrets were invented. But, yeah, it definitely... We might get a better idea of whether they have enough manpower to actually deal with this situation when we actually get to Enceladus
It
ourselves.
is on Titan to help re-engineer this alien tech, but we must keep the origin a secret. As far as everyone is concerned, Gabriel Cantor invented all of it.
And you know, people are going, okay, you know what, we can work with this. It's nice to see, you know, the guy actually has reasons for what he's doing, and even if the end results are not happy, we are at the point where you can actually understand what he's doing, why he's doing it.
Yeah, he is at least a little bit more sympathetic than most of the you made this, no, I made this type of people.
Yeah, it doesn't really excuse the, hey, keep building this Thunderbolt even if it kills half your crew kind of deal, though.
Yeah.
So there's a few plot twists I'm kind of expecting to come up to explain more of what's happening. But
So,
I guess it does check out as well that
go
the
ahead.
whole origin of this is basically Cantor going, I want this, all of this, it's not going to be anyone else's.
So, to go back to a much, much earlier question we had, earlier Cantor was warning the rest of the moons about a potential invasion.
Yeah.
An attack that they needed to build a bunch of auto-ops for to defend themselves against. I'll just let that one hang in the air there.
Yeah, was he warning them against, like, invasions from people from Juno because of alien technology?
Yeah, there's definitely a few things that he might want to defend against.
This is probably one of those games where all the logbooks start having secondary meanings once you already know what's going on.
It does. Like, I know what's going on. I've beaten the game, so knowing that, it's just...
Yeah.
It's a case of, just... Am I reading too much into this, or is it just... Or is the logbook just vague enough that I can give my own definition to what I'm seeing here?
Yeah, there's one quite meta possibility for what Cantor is wanting to defend against, and oh man, I want to talk about it, but I also don't want to ruin everything or make myself look like an idiot if it's completely wrong.
Well, I'm sure I'll have plenty of chances in the last couple of videos when we get there.
Yeah, because we got 5 more levels to go. Oh, die, you son of a bitch.
Oh, that was rude. It's bad enough with people cutting you off on the commute to work, and now you're at work and just going about your business, and one of them comes charging straight into the back of you.
Yeah, this is a fairly big level. I mean, we've seen larger, but this is pretty well spread out.
Yeah.
It's nothing like those industrial levels we saw in Descent 3, though. At least, like, you can tell that there's individual sections here.
Yeah, there are... Oof, this is looking pretty busy.
I guess to kind of expand upon that, there's obvious points of entry and exit.
Yeah, it's like it's intended for people to be, or auto-ops to be flying through here rather than just incidental.
But from a level design perspective, at least you know that if you decide that, like if you find a security key, for example, you found a security key, you're done, you want to go somewhere else, the map will tell you how to get out of there.
Okay, I will take 3 enemies dying to 1 fully charged Thunderbolt shot because of lucky pierce-throughs.
I already forget what the Wyvern was. I think it was that annoying thing with the missile pods, so the fact that they're hauling out super versions of those is worrisome.
In mass, they're hauling them out.
That's actually the other thing about the level design in this game. Like, they're clearly trying to make the spaces look more than incidental, like you said. Like, each thing has something of a purpose to it.
It's been traffic engineered.
Yeah, but it's still very clearly a series of arbitrarily shaped rooms that are put together in the configuration that makes them fun to play through, as opposed to going totally like, I don't know, what's the word? Cute, I guess, where, something's clearly a mess hall, something's clearly someone's offices, putting setting before gameplay, I suppose.
That actually reminds me, there was a game I intend to LP at some point. Oh, and by the way, you remember the Driller Seeker of Doom? Here they are.
Oh, no.
You can get a better... so that thing with the green eyes there, that's one of them?
Yes. And I've been abusing the time bomb to get as much... that guy spawned right on top of me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sounds
Maybe it
like
was
one
one
of
of
the
those situations where it was kind of in the middle of spawning behind you, but then you kind of flew into it as it was spawning.
Possibly. But as I was saying, that comment about making a level really designed like as a arbitrary workspace first rather than a play space first. In a game I want to LP at some point, there was a game called Oni, put up by Bungie many years ago. And one of the draws of it was they got a real-world architect to design all these buildings that you were fighting around. And it turns out that viable workspaces don't make for good fighting spaces.
Because they're too utilitarian and also too easy to navigate through.
Yeah.
That kind of reminds me of another anecdote. I forget which game this was for. I don't know if this was Half-Life or some other game, but I heard this legend that they were building these buildings for their levels to take place in, but then when they dropped them in their physics simulator, they were falling apart because they weren't architected well enough. Like their foundations weren't strong enough or something.
It could have been one of the what is it? Not the other game that came out that's got ties to Descent, the one with the physics engine, where the whole idea was you could shoot your way through levels.
Oh, Red Faction?
Yes, Red Faction.
So they had to learn to make actually better load-bearing walls and structural integrity and whatnot.
Yeah. And me just double-checking, going, oh, wait, oh, wow, that's
Oh.
that's the that looks, oh. If that's the reactor area, oh man, the escape is going to be fun.
I mean, we know what the last little tiny bit of it looks like, but there's apparently some steps in the middle we're going to have to learn about.
Mm-hmm. And this is me just being paranoid about, the reactor room.
Speaking of paranoid, now that we've just picked up a few cryopods, I need to put something out there plot-wise, which is that that door wasn't locked, and the robots don't seem to be attacking anyone in the cryopods. I don't know if I'm reading too much into this, but this is also real suspicious.
Yeah, we haven't really seen any corpses around. I mean, this really isn't the kind of game to indulge in that sort of thing, but it kind of seems like everybody has had ample time to go get into the cryopods. Did they get enough advance warning before all the robots went berserk, or what?
Well, some people were able to get into the cryopods in time, some people weren't. It's interesting how the people who are recording the logs, we don't always find them in cryopods, so...
And also, I guess we haven't been able to thaw them out yet. I mean, I know it's for gameplay purposes, but we just kind of drop them off and then we never hear from them again.
Yeah. Although, to be fair, the status on some of those cryopods indicates that the people inside need immediate medical attention, so maybe the Iberia just can't thaw them out because they're worried, hey, they won't survive.
And it's not like the hostages in Descent 1 or Descent 2 ever gave us helpful gameplay advice either.
No.
Thank you for saving me. By the way, there's a big boss in the next level.
Actually, your comment about, other people not being able to make it makes me think, what was it? Brain break for a second. You remember some of the tiles in Descent 1, Descent 2, how it looked like somebody had been shot or there was damage to the walls from the robots?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's a thing that we're not getting here.
Yeah, again, I don't want to read into it too much because their vibe is still... It's a bit clunky and not, super slick future-y, but it's very clean.
Or maybe the janitor bots have been through already.
Well, yeah, true, that could be why the robots are so hostile. I mean, we're coming in here, not wiping our shoes, getting bullet holes all over the wall.
It does have a point. I mean, who knows how many casings I've scattered all over the place that nobody's picked up.
Yeah, let's say I'm predicting the big twist at the end is this: the last boss is going to be the janitor AI who's been sending all these pissed off robots at us.
Yeah, that brings up another point, though, at least slightly more serious. We've been entertaining two possible theories about this discrepancy between where the harbor station, like, they thought that we already arrived, but our own ship records indicate that, we were out in space, at that time. So, either the harbor records are wrong, or our own are wrong, possibly with forgery involved. But that raises the further question of, are we in fact actually piloting the Iberia? Are we the ship that we say we are?
Mm-hmm.
So if we're not, then perhaps the robots think that we're trespassers.
But with the advent of the time bomb, I was half expecting there to be some kind of time travel shenanigans, but I haven't seen much evidence of that in game yet.
Yeah, there hasn't even been so much as a log of, wait a minute, how could Cantor have been sending these two messages to two people at the same time, kind of thing?
I was thinking, though, the only evidence of possible time shenanigans we've seen is whatever time bomb or something the devs decided to set off that sent them back to 1995 and made them make an exploding driller.
The last message was sent very recently, on 8/28.
You've been very helpful, Dev. And I'm sorry our collaboration ends here. Whatever happened, it's nothing personal. Cantor out.
Which is
Ooh,
interesting
that's
because we arrived on August 28th. So Cantor sent that message the day we arrived in at Ymir.
Okay, so all this stuff's pretty recent then.
Yeah, the timeline gets very compressed when we show up.
Yeah, I guess we must be getting closer to his trail, which is understandable given the pacing of the game.
And our little AI helper just to point out, hey, maybe Cantor's on Enceladus still. We should go check it out after we're done here.
Yeah, I mean, why even stop at all the other moons? Well, I guess orbital mechanics is the reason why.
Well, we're also under instructions from Juno Offworld to decommission all of these facilities, blow the reactor in order to disable all the rogue auto-ops.
Maybe this was the exact attack that Cantor was planning out. They thought that Juno Offworld was going to be sending some force in, but it just happened to be one ship. That's kind of clever, actually. You're going towards an area, but they stick a reward in the return path so that either you pick it up early by taking both paths nice and early and doing a loop-de-loop, and then you feel clever about that, or you go in and you deal with all the stuff that's on the other side, and then you get a reward on your way out to kind of restock you. So it's just good either way.
Yeah. But I mean, this is definitely a game where they've got... Oh, crap. Back up.
They pulled that trick earlier, and it was so effective they decided to do it again.
This is a huge room, by the way.
Oh, wow.
That's quite the
I don't know how you
committee.
managed to tick off one group of them, but not the other.
Line of sight. But you were saying, Ahmed?
Oh, that's quite the welcoming committee. And it just shows off there that the Thunderbolt, you're right, that's definitely a longer range weapon. I was kind of expecting that you'd be able to use it as a bit of a shotgun and take that guy out point blank, but not quite strong enough without the charge.
Well, no,
Yeah, it looked like you were doing a little tap, and I think you only hit him with one of the projectiles, not two of them.
Yeah. Well, also, the shotgun is really the crusher, not the Thunderbolt.
And this is kind of the bulkier melee model too. That even might still have been enough to take out the lighter weight one.
Here we go.
Now this is me going, wait, wrong doors. I'm going to have to come back and actually deal with the doors that were just unlocked.
What kind of pickup is that? Is that a missile?
That is that's a pack of 6 Novas, the smart
Oh,
smart
okay.
missiles.
Yeah, so it's a super pack, so it's glowing red-orange. Okay, that's why. I didn't quite recognize it because it was all glowy and silhouetted at the same time.
And, it also had the problem of being behind a force field.
Yeah, I mean, the higher fidelity of the, like the higher polygon count, or whatever you want to call it, of these models for the pickups is certainly neat and all, but there is something to be said for the readability of the old sprites in the older games.
Yeah, they were more color-coded as well. Like, homing missiles were always blue, smart missiles were big, bulky green, guided missiles were not as bulky green.
Wow, that's some pretty impressive homing, actually. Not
But also-
crazy, but pretty good.
Yeah, but also tells you there's probably another enemy down over there, too. Don't think I can get at anybody in there, because there's not actually anybody in there.
When you picked up the overdrive before, I was really expecting them to teleport in or open a bunch of doors and swarm you with enemies, given the fact we're in a pretty large room and it's just dropped a run and gun power up on you like that.
Yeah, just open up a whole bunch of closets in the walls and dump like 5 more enemies in here.
But we haven't really seen that much of this in the game yet, have we? It's generally been stuff's there in the open, you run around a corner and realise, oh, there were 3 guys there. They don't sort of monster closet you too much.
Well, part of it is that in this particular room, you may have noticed that there was a cut before I made my approach to this room, because I have tried the whole charging in, run and gun with this room, and it doesn't work out, because you can draw in a lot of enemies, and it's a big room, you can be hit from all sides.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's all those enemies that were already in there, plus it looks like there were at least 2 or 3 enemies in these side hallways at the bottom that you're clearing out now. Oh, even more than that. Yeah, so if you get all the way down to the bottom, then you could just be totally surrounded by like 12 enemies.
But what I'm getting at here, though, is that, okay, I'm old and out of touch, but I'm a bit conditioned from the likes of Doom and Serious Sam that they often set situations up where you have a very obvious power-up, no matter how small it is, and then when you pick it up, they teleport a monster closet and a bunch of enemies surrounding you. So they intentionally get you to put yourself into a situation where you know it's going to be a big fight and stuff just kind of appears. Whereas this is more of a Dark Souls vibe where everything is pre-placed beforehand and you can either charge in like a crazy person or go in at a more sedate pace and try and be a bit tactical.
With the way that sound kind of propagates in this game, it's also kind of a risky proposition to try and lure out individual enemies, too. Because you never know if just the act of you firing is going to alert other enemies in some other hallway.
So it feels a lot fairer and kind of smoother paced than if we were to say see the security key floating in the middle of a very large room and know, okay, I can run around this room, nothing's going to happen, but as soon as I pick it up, 20 guys are going to just come charging in from nowhere.
I think one of the differences is that in this game, there's actual like dedicated enemy spawn points as well, which can change up the pace of combat.
Yeah.
Okay, it's that enemy making that noise. I was wondering if that was a door opening, like, just like a monster closet like we were talking about, but no, it was just an enemy way over there that had the line of sight at you through that angle. Well, I don't know. You seem to be making pretty steady progress. I mean, there have been a few close calls, but you haven't really been caught out that badly.
Practice makes perfect. And of course I'm going to have to backtrack shortly to get into a secret room, but that's a few moments, and it's in the future. Which is right now, actually. Because these doors unlocked when I blew that little mini reactor between the doors.
Okay. We've seen some secret doors like this in corners of rooms earlier, so I guess some of those secrets that were earlier in the level are prompting you to look in the same location in other rooms later in the level.
Mm-hmm.
Did we fly through that tube earlier, the one in front of you?
No. Oh, okay.
Oh. Well, I guess that would be why. Because I was going to say, that's another classic level design trick, is letting you fly through, like, someplace with windows where you can see another room, but you haven't gotten into there yet.
Yeah, that's very classic.
Oh, that's too bad. I thought the splash sandwich was going to kill that guy, but not quite. That's better. Oh. That's a sad Devastator right there.
Yeah, I mean, it unfortunately, like, Devastators are great for being the Mega Missile, but it's just one of those things that becomes, I don't know, want to say.
I guess those Valkyries are just too bulky for the splash damage alone to get them.
Yeah, it also depends on, like, what angle they're hit, because they may not be bulky, but they can present a very thin profile towards you.
I don't know if this is one of those cases where the splash damage is heavier if it's the enemy is closer to the epicenter of the impact, or if it's just the same everywhere in the sphere.
And of course now all my shields and energy and my ammo are practically gone, so...
Yeah, that's the other awkward thing about these lockdowns, is of course you're kind of locked away from these energy recharge places, so if you go in there with low energy, I can imagine you'd have to rely on those ammo-using weapons too.
Yeah. Alright, where did I put the button, or the access button for those guys?
Did you lose the keys behind the sofa again, Barry John?
Yes. And one little quick tap to go, oh hey, I gotta fire through here.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that's a good reason, like, to clear out all the enemies. You would not be able to make this shot if anybody else is shooting at you while you're doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez, that thing took some punishment.
Yeah, let's not forget to pick up the super upgrade point before I leave the room.
Is there any other reason to come to this area of the with the lockdown besides that upgrade point, or is that just it?
That's just it. This room is completely optional.
You say
Which means
optional.
that since it has the upgrade point in it, it's not optional, but you can
Exactly.
pretend. Hey, 6 Novas, that's a pretty good too.
Mm-hmm. And because the super booster packs can go over the limit in terms of how much you can hold, I've actually got 7 out of 6 Novas right now.
How do you think that actually works in universe? Do the super packs just come with their own holders, or what?
Maybe. I couldn't tell you.
The Auto Ops Cantor order just arrived from the workshop. He believes an attack from outside is imminent. We defined the specs here at Tethys, but the final product is disturbing.
I can't blame him for being disturbed if we're naming all these auto-ops after, like, mythological monsters. Like, that just doesn't lead anywhere good.
And unfortunately, you can't shoot through this grate.
Oh, they didn't even have the common sense or decency to put a force field inside the grate or something.
Yeah, otherwise I'd have attempted to driller my way through that there and just hit the reactor, the mini reactor on the far side.
So it's just an invisible wall in there?
Pretty much.
Boo. Why is it even a grate then? To let you see through it, maybe.
Yeah, just to give you an idea of where you're going.
So did that thing just take 3 hunter missiles to the face and not even flinch?
Probably.
I guess at some point we'll have to upgrade the damage on these things again, then.
Yeah, I would hate to see what would happen if you tried to do some kind of challenge run where you go through with minimal or no upgrades. There's probably some crazy person out there doing that.
Yeah, that's one of those things that sounds like it's technically possible, but also sounds like the game was literally not designed for that. It was not balanced around that.
Yeah.
No. It is a thing. I'm not that crazy.
I mean, at least some of these weapons are decent even without upgrades, but it's all going to depend upon those damage numbers. Like, if no matter what, if you're firing away at a boss for like 10 minutes, you're just not going to be in a good spot. Especially with, like, that's a problem in general with HP scaling and bosses that generate adds, like additional minions. If you just don't have the DPS to keep up with them and also do damage to the boss, then there just becomes a tipping point where you're just not upgraded enough to actually fight the boss.
Yeah, the whole thing, even if you could beat it, would just become incredibly tedious.
Yeah, I mean, that's avertable to some extent if you have a cap on how many enemies can get into the room, so there's a limit to how bad things can get if you don't keep up, but even then, that's still miserable.
Well, especially in a game like this where monster spawners are the norm.
And when in reactor rooms, the monster spawners can be shielded, preventing you from destroying them.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of that's the dark side of the whole, you can upgrade your ship a whole lot to become even more powerful, is, if you, misapply those upgrades, not that there doesn't seem to be that much chance of that happening in this game, but, if you're low on upgrade points or you misapply your upgrades, then, there's that risk of, kind of falling behind the leveling curve. So thankfully, all of these weapons do seem to be pretty decent. Like, even if you dumped all of your points into the flat cannon and then later on found out that it was just sad, you'd still be well enough armed to keep up with these enemies, I feel.
Yeah, there's no respec mechanism, is there?
No, you'd have to basically complete the game and then go to a new game plus in order to respec your weapons.
So they refund all of your upgrade points, and then you just arrive at the start of the game with all the weapons and with like 200 upgrade points?
Pretty much.
Wow, okay, this is quite a big level.
It is, and we're at the bottom of it now, so, you know, I'm getting flashbacks in a way to the first level of Mercenary, where you had to go to the bottom of the map to destroy the reactor, and then you had to go even deeper.
I'm wondering if maybe they kind of balance the enemy numbers around you collecting some percentage, like half or 75% of the upgrade points that they put into the level. Just have that margin of, player not finding all of the secret upgrade points or deciding to skip one or two of the lockdowns or something like that. So, in a sense, 100% finding every last upgrade point would, in theory, give you an easier time compared to what they, put out the health resources for example.
It's possible. Also, I spent like 15 minutes making this practice, or trying to do this particular reactor fight, because things quickly get out of hand if you don't catch up on everything.
So I'm assuming those are more of those shielded enemy spawners over on the sides there.
Mm-hmm.
So there's plenty of places to kind of duck in, but it seems like also if you do duck in, it can be hard to kind of actually make your elbow your way back into the main area again.
Bomber once it sustains enough damage. What would possess Kanto to design something like this?
Yes, what would possess Cantor to design an auto-op like that?
Well, again, far be it from me to comment on that sort of thing, but in principle, the suicide attack is supposed to be something where you somehow believe that giving up the resources inherent to the thing that is blowing up is less of a problem than like it's an opportunistic threat, so to say.
Mm-hmm. But that's the reactor?
Considering you were right next to a reactor that just exploded, pre-exploded, I guess. I guess the explosion came from its outer shell failing or something.
Yeah. And this is me just going, okay, that was one space.
It always kind of weirded me out how, when something is about to self-destruct, oftentimes that's represented by there being, like, a whole bunch of small explosions going off, steadily, one by one. And then the whole thing explodes again in a much larger explosion. So it's like, what were the first explosions for?
They're the pre-explosion, the primer.
Yeah, I figure it's like your kettle making a lot of noise before it boils.
But that was that level. Long, I won't say tedious, but it was definitely, it didn't overstay its welcome.
Yeah.
That seemed like an endurance level.
Yeah. But I will see you all next time when we go to Encephalus. I have no idea how to pronounce that word anymore. Enceladus.
Enchilada.
Yes, okay, next time we'll call the level Enchilada all the way through.